The story opens with Ray Francis, a war veteran who has just returned home, marking the end of his military service as he plans to marry his girlfriend. Meanwhile, in a city park, a lovely woman named Kelly is enjoying her day. Suddenly, Ray surprises her from behind, revealing that she is his beloved, and she is overjoyed to see him, especially since he had mentioned he would be back the following week. Without hesitation, Ray presents her with an engagement ring, leaving Kelly both shocked and thrilled, and she eagerly accepts his proposal. As they prepare to leave the park, Kelly realizes she has forgotten the book she was reading, prompting Ray to go back and retrieve it. This is when trouble begins to unfold. Two men in a luxury car approach, and one of them, Tim, attempts to flirt with Kelly. Initially, Ray and Kelly ignore them and try to get into the car, but Tim steps out, provocatively exposing himself in front of Kelly. Enraged, Ray confronts the two men, leading to a physical altercation. However, Tim brandishes a knife, and in the ensuing struggle, Ray accidentally stabs himself fatally. In the aftermath, Ray and Kelly seek legal counsel, only to discover that Ray is now facing murder charges. The lawyer presents him with two tough options. If he pleads guilty, he could serve a reduced sentence of 2 to 3 years, with a possibility of only 18 months in prison. Conversely, if he chooses to fight the charges, he risks a much longer sentence of 5 to 8 years. Ultimately, Ray decides to plead guilty, accepting the reality of his situation and the 18-month sentence that awaits him. We then turn our attention to the father of the murdered man, Harvey Thompson, who seems to be struggling to come to terms with his son's tragic death. It's clear that Harvey is not an ordinary individual. He has dispatched someone to uncover the identity of Ray Francis. This informant also provides crucial details about where Ray will be incarcerated. The scene transitions to the prison where Ray is set to serve his time. Here, we meet Jack Morrison, the warden in charge. Harvey, still reeling from his loss, pays Jack a visit, pleading with him to ensure that Ray remains behind bars indefinitely. In exchange, Harvey offers a substantial sum of money, which Jack plans to use to incentivize his staff to carry out his dark intentions. The day has finally come for the inmates to start their sentences. A guard named Rico is on hand to welcome the new arrivals. At this point, Ray and several other inmates are instructed to strip down for a security check. Tensions rise as Rico begins to take a disliking to Ray, especially when he sees him defending another inmate who is being forced to remove his underwear. From the very first day, Ray finds himself on the receiving end of Rico's aggression. Soon after, Ray is escorted by a guard named Williams to meet Jack Morrison. During this encounter, it comes to light that Ray has a military background, having served 12 years, including 4 in Iraq, where he earned a medal for bravery. Jack feigns friendliness, instructing Williams to keep an eye on Ray. Williams then leads Ray to his cell, offering him a warning about the challenges ahead. Surprisingly, within just a few days, Ray begins to receive a warm reception from fellow inmates. A scuffle breaks out, but a group led by Mazin comes to Ray's aid. Just as tensions escalate between the two factions, Williams steps in, commanding them to disperse. Ray finds himself assigned to the prison library, where he encounters David, a veteran inmate who guides him on how the books are organized. As Ray heads back to his cell, he faces harassment from other inmates but manages to keep his cool. While reading a diary in his cell, he is suddenly confronted by Rico and his crew, who begin to ransack his space. An old guard discovers a photo of Ray's girlfriend, and Ray is forced to watch as Rico taunts him by licking the picture, igniting a fierce desire to retaliate against the guard. However, he is restrained by 2 other guards, Victor and Fox. Rico escalates the situation by tearing the photo, further infuriating Ray. Rico then demands that Ray remove his shirt and starts to intimidate him. Not content with mere physical aggression, Rico contemplates something far worse, but Victor steps in just in time to halt his plans. Later, while Ray is showering, he faces more hostility from another inmate. At that moment, a large inmate named Hammer takes notice of Ray's physique and asks him to crouch down so he can sharpen his weapon. In response, Ray playfully punches Hammer and pushes him away. Rico soon arrives and assaults Ray, leading to his return to Jack's room. Ray attempts to explain that he was merely defending himself against Hammer's advances, but Jack dismisses his concerns, stating that such behavior is commonplace in their environment. As Ray continues to protest, the guards beat him mercilessly. Victor eventually intervenes, warning the others that Ray could be killed. During lunch, Ray reconnects with fellow inmates from the library, including Jade, an 18-year-old who is still adjusting to prison life. As they chat, Ray spots a convict with whom he had a previous altercation at the start of his sentence. Ray and David are deep in conversation about their shared history in the library. It comes to light that David is facing a life sentence due to a robbery he committed with his brother 15 years ago, during which they attacked a money truck, resulting in the deaths of 2 security guards and a police officer. Tragically, David's brother also lost his life in the heist. and the stolen money remains undiscovered, with only David aware of its hiding place. As they talk, Rico bursts into the room, interrupting them to announce that Ray has a visitor. To Ray's delight, the visitor is his girlfriend, Kelly, making her first appearance. He beams at her from across the room, but their reunion is cut short when Rico rudely interjects, insisting Ray come inside. In a bid to provoke Ray, Rico taunts him by claiming he wants to kiss Kelly, but Ray remains unfazed, displaying his tough demeanor. Later, Ray joins Mazin and his crew for a game of cards. Impressed by Ray's resilience, Mazin offers to look out for him while he's incarcerated. Meanwhile, 18-year-old Jade is in the gym when he becomes the target of harassment from Hammer, a man who had previously attempted to assault Ray. Just as Jade is about to be attacked with a dumbbell, Ray intervenes and comes to his rescue. Williams arrives shortly after to break up the scuffle. Ray has been under immense pressure since his arrival. While cleaning the toilets, he is confronted by a man seeking revenge for a past altercation. However, it takes little effort for Ray to overpower him. As always, Rico seems to appear just in time to witness Ray's every confrontation. This time, Jack aligns himself with Harvey. Having been bribed, Jack has his own agenda and stealthily approaches Ray from behind, swinging a bat at him. The next day, the three bodyguards who accepted Jack's bribe convene, and Victor expresses his desire to withdraw from the situation. He even threatens to escalate the issue to their superiors. After Victor departs, Williams, the head of security, confronts the remaining guards, revealing his ignorance of the unfolding events. He reprimands them for instructing Ray to clean the toilets, as he had specifically assigned him to the library. During their discussion, Williams emphasizes that they should never make decisions without his approval again. Following this, Rico and Fox report to Jack that Victor has opted out and plans to sabotage their scheme. Jack instructs them to handle Victor. The two guards then head to a prisoner's cell to inspect the area, where they discover a sharp weapon. They exit after ordering the prisoner to kneel and apologize. When the convict is later tasked with cleaning the toilets, he is taken aback to find Victor's lifeless body. Shortly after, Rico and Fox arrive, revealing that this was a calculated murder, and they accuse the prisoner, who was found with the weapon, of being the killer. Meanwhile, during a recreational period, Ray sits with David, inquiring about Mazin. David explains that Mazin is a significant figure in the prison, controlling a drug syndicate and leading his own gang. However, Mazin's crew overhears their conversation and approaches Ray and David. Mazin warns Ray to be cautious about his alliances, as he has a rival gang to contend with. While Ray and David are showering, Mazin's crew launches a surprise attack, targeting the man who had previously confronted Ray in the restroom. This man is revealed to be affiliated with Mazin's rival gang. Accused of the man's murder, Ray rushes to confront the gang, insisting he had no part in the crime. He manages to persuade them that it was actually Mazin's gang responsible for the death. Meanwhile, we shift to 18-year-old Jade, who is enduring abuse at the hands of Hammer in a concealed room. The lights are off as Hammer sharpens his sword once again. In a different part of the prison, Ray's girlfriend returns for a second visit, but instead of a warm welcome, she faces harsh treatment from two malevolent guards. Kelly is coerced into disrobing to pass through security, having waited 2 weeks to see Ray, leaving her with no option but to comply. Ray, aware of her predicament, is furious but feels powerless to intervene. At the same time, Jade finds the strength to fight back against Hammer, ultimately stabbing him with a screwdriver. Following this, Ray is summoned to Mazin's cell, where Mazin expresses his fury over Ray's refusal to ally with him. Later, while Ray is with David, Rico and Fox arrive to drag him to the workshop, revealing that Mazin orchestrated both events. To protect Ray, Jack warns Mazin against harming Ray's loved ones, including David and Kelly. In a fit of rage, Rico attempts to injure Ray's hand, pushing Ray to his breaking point, leading him to retaliate against the guards. This altercation results in Ray being confined to a dark, isolated cell. Meanwhile, Williams confronts Jack in his office, questioning why he ordered the guards to bring Ray to the workshop. Jack, however, denies any involvement and asserts his authority over the prison. Ray, in contrast, is subjected to inhumane treatment, leading him to the brink of insanity after several weeks in confinement. Following an extended period in a solitary cell, he is finally permitted to exit. At this juncture, he is accompanied by a guard whom Jack has not bribed. Williams seeks to understand the reasons behind Ray's mistreatment by nearly all the inmates. However, Ray remains reticent, unwilling to place his trust in anyone within the prison walls. It is revealed that Williams shares a similar background as an ex-soldier. Once Ray has regained his composure, Mazin continues to harbor a desire for vengeance against him and instructs Jade to stab Ray. Yet, due to Ray's past support, Jade finds it unbearable to carry out the act. Consequently, in a tragic turn of events, Mazin kills Jade, who had become part of his faction. Upon learning of his friend's death, Ray can no longer suppress his emotions and confronts Mazen's group in the yard. After swiftly overpowering the bald man with 3 strikes, Ray condemns Mazen for murdering his own ally. This act earns Ray the backing of other prisoners, prompting him to challenge Mazen to a duel. Jack, fully aware of the unfolding events, permits the guards to allow the fight to proceed. With his military training, Ray is well equipped to defeat Mazen. Ultimately, Ray manages to strangle Mazen to the point of near death. However, upon glancing at David, who shakes his head in disapproval, Ray refrains from delivering the final blow. In a sudden turn, a knife is thrown, striking Mazen. Attempting to exploit the chaos, Mazen lunges at Ray from behind but is thwarted by David. Ultimately, Mazen meets his end at the hands of the leader of a rival faction. Subsequently, Williams escorts Ray into Jack Morrison's office, where Jack informs him that his prison sentence has been prolonged. In response, Ray unleashes a torrent of vitriol, successfully stirring Jack's emotions. Consequently, Jack discloses that he has received a substantial sum to ensure Ray remains incarcerated. It becomes evident that this situation is a setup, and armed with this revelation, Williams and his team arrive to apprehend Jack, the so-called authority within the prison. Additionally, Rico and Fox, the most notorious guards, are also taken into custody. Once the ordeal concludes, Ray visits David, who is still alive. At this juncture, David kindly reveals the whereabouts of the hidden stolen money, urging Ray to use it to start a joyful new chapter in his life. Furthermore, David expresses his longing for his daughter and requests that Ray deliver a bag of money to her. Ultimately, Ray is released from prison, receiving a parting handshake from Williams. He is joyfully welcomed by his girlfriend. In addition, Ray encounters David's daughter and presents her with a bag filled with money. As he prepares to depart, he encourages her to visit her father, who has been missing her. Before the film concludes, Williams is seen directing the new inmates to don their prison uniforms, revealing that one of them is Harvey Thompson, Tim's father, who previously bribed Jack and instigated the turmoil within the prison. If you enjoyed this video, don't be shy to hit the like button, and if you disliked it, hit the dislike button twice.